So you've been thinking of moving to Hamilton, eh? Well, don't. At least not until you hear what I have to say in this video. Hamilton is a great place to live and to raise a family. I live here myself and I love it, but it's not for everybody. In this video, I'm going to lay out the 5 things that you need to know before you call this place home, so let's get into it. If this is your first time here and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Hamilton and buying real estate here, then this is the channel for you. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any videos like this. My name is Steve Lopresti. I'm a local real estate agent, and every week I get messages from people that are thinking about moving to Hamilton, and if you ever have any questions at all, you can feel free to message me. You can send me an email. I'll help you to make a smooth move without any nasty surprises. All right, the first thing that you want to know about Hamilton is that the winters will test you. Hamilton winters aren't mild, and the city roughly gets about 118 centimeters of snow every year. But the real headache is the escarpment, which cuts the city in half. It cuts it into the lower city area, and then there's also the Hamilton Mountains. So there's a lot of steep uphill and downhill climbs that you're going to be doing. When a storm does hit, those access roads can become an ice rink. This can really throw a monkey wrench into your morning commutes, with a lot of those roads being slowed to a crawl or even shut down entirely. Now that being said, it is still manageable if you get yourself some good winter tires, you get yourself a nice shovel, get yourself a snowblower, and you can manage fairly well here. And just make sure you add some extra time in the morning before you leave for work so that you can get the snow off your car. Now that being said, if you're the type of person who loves the winter time, you love it when there's snow out, you love doing winter sports, ice skating, all that fun stuff, then this is going to be a great city for you. Right, the next thing that you want to know about Hamilton is that the waterfront isn't always pretty. Hamilton has access to Lake Ontario, which has tons of beaches, and there's also a ton of waterfront trails. This is obviously a huge plus, but the industrial harbor and the beach advisories can really kill that cottage country fantasy really quickly. And after a big rain event, the city usually posts an E. coli and algae warning around the beaches, so that's something that you're going to want to keep in mind as well. Now that being said, public health does monitor the water, and they do post notices if it's unsafe for you to go in, so you don't have to worry about perhaps picking a day when it's not the best by accident. You should be aware of whether or not it is or is not safe at that particular time. And you can still enjoy Bayfront Park and Confederation Peak for walking, biking, running, and just enjoying yourself. It's got some pretty good views there, but if you want to be going in the water, you might want to travel down towards Burlington or go that direction a little bit more, where the water's just a little bit cleaner for you. All right, the third thing about Hamilton that you want to keep in mind is that the transit will most likely frustrate you. Hamilton is still a car-first city. The HSR bus system works, but it works in very select pockets. It doesn't really cover the whole city, and there are certain areas where the bus routes are really inconsistent. And the long-promised LRT is still under construction, but it's not here yet, so that's not really an option for you as of now. If you're used to subways every 3 minutes, then Hamilton is going to feel pretty slow and disconnected. So if you rely on transit to get around, then you want to make sure that you're choosing the right neighborhoods that are along proper bus routes. You don't want to be caught outside of that. Otherwise, just be prepared to drive. That's what most locals do here. The next thing about Hamilton is that the traffic kind of chokes at the worst spots. Inside the city, the Link and the Red Hill help, but they kind of funnel into choke spots, and they tend to get a lot of traffic at certain times of the day, especially during rush hour. And there's also the Burlington Skyway on the QEW, which is constantly being slowed down by accidents, construction, and also just general traffic. It can turn a 5-minute crossing into 45 minutes of sitting still. So for anybody who's commuting into the GTA, this can easily become a weekly headache. If your work is local to Hamilton, then you'll probably dodge most of it, but if you do have to take the Burlington Skyway into work consistently, then you're going to want to plan for some buffer time on your commute and maybe learn some alternative routes as well for when traffic is really heavy. Now, the fifth reason that you might want to think twice about moving to Hamilton is that the nightlife is smaller than you might think. Hamilton has some decent pubs. It also has Hess Village, James Street, and some breweries, but there's not really too much to do here in terms of nightlife. If you live for that club and that big city lifestyle, then you're going to run out of things to do here relatively quickly. Most of the nightlife that we have here is student-oriented, and it shuts down earlier than you'd expect. That being said, we do have a great variety of local bars and restaurants here, but if you want a lot more clubs and that sort of thing, then you're probably going to have to head off to Toronto. Alright, and a little bonus tip for you. Another thing that you're going to want to consider about Hamilton is that the cost of living is not so cheap here anymore. Hamilton still gets called more affordable than Toronto, but Rents are still pretty high, and home prices, even after a dip, are still pretty tough for first-time buyers. Recent reports have put rent in Hamilton for a decent one-bedroom apartment around $1,700 to $1,800 per month. Now, that has come down a little bit from where it was in previous years, but it's still not chump change. On the buying side, prices have been drifting down as well, with the most recent benchmark price being around $703,000 in Hamilton, which can help first-time buyers a little bit, but it still doesn't make things super easy. You're still probably going to need 2 incomes in order to afford something here. If you are renting today and planning on making the jump to home ownership, then just make sure that you run the numbers carefully and speak to a mortgage broker and don't skip the pre-approval process. So yeah, that's the dark side of Hamilton, but it does have its upsides as well. Like I said, I've lived here for my entire life and I love it. One of the main things I love about Hamilton is the access to nature that we have. There's tons of trails and tons of outdoor space. I don't like being inside most of the time. I like to be outside as much as possible, so that's why I like Hamilton personally. That might not appeal to everybody, but that's one of the reasons that I love living here. And it's not flawless, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a city that is. Now, if after watching this video you still want to move to Hamilton and you'd like some help, I've got 2 options for you. First, you can download my free first-time homebuyer survival guide. It'll walk you through the entire process start to finish, so you know exactly what to do, how to save money, and mistakes to avoid when you're buying your first home. And the second thing is to just book a free call with me, and we will come up with a personalized strategy for you buying your home in the next 6 to 12 months. Both options will be great from getting you from thinking about it to holding the keys and without any of the horror stories. So go check that out. Information is down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out this video right here for some more Hamilton real estate tips, and you can also hit that button over there to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.